Hey, wanted to capture some video and some photos of this process I did a couple months ago, probably maybe 5 months ago. I bought a Les Paul Studio, ran into just an exceptional deal. I think it was either in May or June, on a Alpine white Les Paul Studio, and it was the reason why it was so cheap is the finish was pretty messed up. I mean, it had some other nicks and things like that on the back and the headstock, but the top was a little messed up. And that the previous owner, there was some random scratching and some things, and he had sprayed just some kind of paint on the top, and it was very stark white compared to how the rest of the body had faded, and it didn't look great. It didn't look great up close. From a distance, it didn't seem to matter, and I used it. I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 times over the summer at some different gigs, and it just looked like a white guitar on stage, and so everything was cool. But what happened is that I was able to get another Les Paul, one that I had been kind of searching around for these specs and saving up for a Les Paul like that for a while, and I'll probably share that on a different video, I'm sure, and I'll be using it on some other videos on some songs. So that allowed me to basically take this one out of commission. And anyways, along this video and another video, like I said, maybe two. I don't know how long this whole process was going to take with the videos, but I just wanted to document that. And so that's what this is. This is me just this video here. I'm just kind of checking out the video, starting to take it apart, the guitar, I mean, and let's see how that goes. So check it out. Okay, this is the 2007 Gibson Les Paul Studio, and it's got what you would expect for a sort of typical. It's got some stuff up here on the headstock as far as some nicks and some things like that. Which would be pretty normal, I guess, for a guitar this age. And however, I picked it up, and when I got it, everything is great about this guitar. I like the tone, I like the way it plays, I like everything about it. I don't like the top, and that's what saved me a bunch of money when I bought it, because what had happened with the finish. So you can pretty plainly see on the bottom half here, from here along here, then underneath the tailpiece, over to here, and then up like that, is a different colored white. And I don't know what happened to this guitar that caused the person to sand away or scratch away at this a little bit and then spray it with that white. But I have an opportunity of a little bit of time now where I'm just going to pull all the hardware off and all the electronics out, and I'm just going to get some white nitro and just respray the top, or just respray the sides, and or just respray the whole thing. I'm not super excited about that because I don't mind the neck, the paint on the neck and the back and everything. I mean, it's got this spot here where you can see the finishes. There's some darkness right there for some reason. There's a circle right here of being wore a little bit. None of that bothers me. None of the nicks, nothing out here bothers me. But that mismatched paint kind of bothers me. So I'm gonna give it a whirl. From about here to here, all along the side, they also sprayed. Let's see if I can catch where they actually didn't do too bad of a job fading it in down here. It's not super noticeable. What is noticeable for me is in the top. So I'm going to take this guitar out of commission, pull everything off it, and see if I can just spray this top or just spray the top and the sides, or maybe I have to spray the whole guitar. But I'm going to keep it white. See if I can match this color. I doubt I'll be able to. And it also has some sort of deep scratching going on along here that I'm going to need to smooth out, I believe. So that's it. I'll just get a quick shot inside the switch cavity here. And in the control cavity. Really clean in there. So there you have it. Gibson pots. Looks to be completely original, I guess. Gibson gold plated pickups. 498. T in the 490. Okay, interesting. What we got going on here? You can actually see much better the difference in color once all the plastic is off and the hardware is off. I haven't taken the pickups out yet, but that's sort of it. It's pretty dirty. That's the difference in the color, though. It's the original color, faded, and this is what was sprayed over the top. Come around here in pickup cavities, it has PST, probably for Les Paul Studio, AW, Alpine white or Arctic white, I forget which is what they call it. I think it's Alpine white. And that's that. So just got to get the electronics out, otherwise all the hardware's off right now. All right, man, I just opened this up. This took almost a month to get, which is pretty disappointing. You can't tell from out there because we do have grass, but it's almost November and it's getting cold. And I was planning on spraying this guitar outside, not in the house, obviously. And I decided to go with Mohawk versus other nitro finishes. So I got some of this to spray over the part that I had to kind of sand down to seal it. I don't really know if I needed it or not. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of winging this thing. You know, it's a $500 Les Paul. I never could believe that somebody would have the guts to refinish a Les Paul, and here I am spraying one. But it's $500, and I don't know if I could make. I'm going to wind up making it any worse. Bought that at a shop. I drove down about a 35 minute drive. Thought they'd have all kinds of Mohawk nitro there, and all they had was this. So then I went online and had to order this stuff. So let me just go through my box real quick here. Let's see what's in here, see if I can get it organized. So what I've got here is finish the clear. I got 3 cans of clear. Okay, so I'll start with this, the vinyl sealer over some of the wood. I basically have 3 cans here to spray with the whole guitar, and I have 4 different colors of white. And I did that because I don't know how each of these are going to look, but I think I'm only going to need 1 can of white for the whole guitar. So I've got the white satin. I've got their aged white, which I think might wind up being a little more yellowish. I've got the ivory, light ivory, and I've got heirloom white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sample piece of wood. I'll spray some of this down first, a little bit of this first. Mark each can, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark each spot in the wood, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just kind of spray them. And then I'll compare them to the guitar, what the guitar currently looks like, because it has aged. It's not a pure bright white. So, anyways, finally got this package. It's almost November. It's going to be cold outside. Hopefully, I can get this all done and get it sprayed, and be able to let it dry and everything else. I won't run into winter. If it gets too cold, I'm just going to have to wait till spring, I guess, because I'm not going to spray this stuff in the house. So, anyways, there's my big order. It took almost a month to get. Okay, real quick check-in. After the paint finally showed up, I decided, well, now I got to work on this. I can't wait till spring. I got time. I got a week or two here. This is after the first layer of Bondo. Yes, I used Bondo to, in this area, I had removed the clear and or whatever, the white that was here, and gotten down to the wood, and so I needed to bring the level back up, and I just used Bondo for that. And now it's a little not bad. It's a little bit like here. I need to bring it down just a hair. Right here, I actually need to put a little more in there. That needs to be filled, and this needs to be filled. But it's getting pretty. It's pretty flat. It needs a lot more sanding, but it's kind of getting there. And the other thing I did yesterday, I taped off the fretboard, preparing to spray. I also really cleaned the neck and the body. And a lot of the imperfections that were on here were it was just dirty and just showing up because it was white. Makes me wonder how dirty some of my other guitars are that aren't white. And some of your guitars are because they aren't white, because this thing just showed everything. But I got it really clean, and preparing to possibly have to spray the whole thing. Like I said, I've got 4 different colors of white. I'm going to see if I can get away with just maybe spraying the top and a little bit of the side. If I have to spray the whole thing, I will. That's fine. And I know that there are plenty of folks that will just say, just spray the whole thing, spray the whole thing. Honestly, the only reason why I don't want to spray the whole thing is I don't want to bury the serial number that you can barely read. I'm still not confident I have all the numbers, but you can barely get the serial number here. And I also don't want to nick any of the black here of this, I forget what you'd call it, but this isn't painted black. This is another piece of veneer. And I love the sharp line, and I don't want to mess that up. I've got this taped off pretty well, but I don't know. I'm not an expert painter, and I feel like I'm going to screw it up if I'm up here painting and stuff like that. I just don't want to paint a bunch of areas that don't need to be painted. And so I'm going to try to do a color match, and if it looks horrible, then fine. We're going to find out. I also need to pull these out. I'll pull these out today, and I probably need to go find a bolt or something to help me do that. And I'll also, when I make a trip to the hardware store, get 2 shallow bolts that will fit right down here and just cover those holes up. I'll just screw something in there. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'll do another layer of this. I'm going to pull that, cap that, and then I'm also going to take my whites and do a little test spray and see if any of them come close to this faded white that's on here now. And if not, then not. The only thing as I was using a 60 grit to get this Bondo down. I probably should have taken a picture or filmed what it looked like before. I mean, of course, it was mild. That stuff dries fast, and it was just really wavy. But I was not pushing very hard, letting the sandpaper do the work, right? Let the sandpaper do the work. Do it really lightly, because I didn't want to start gouging into the wood or the existing finish here. You know, I'm trying to make it blend in. So very lightly to bring it down, and it's getting there. All right, so where we at here? I just had to go to the hardware store. For that, I quick threw a little more Bondo on this area, which still needs to be sanded a little bit here, and needed to go to the hardware store to get some stuff to pull these out. So we'll do the other one here, and I also got some bolts that when it comes time to spray and whatnot, I'm just gonna throw these in here like so to stop any paint from getting built up in there. While I'm still sanding, I think I'll take that out, but to remove this, I'm just going to put down a little tape there. This thing costs like a couple bucks at the hardware store. And this needs to be able to pass through it. And then I've got a large washer and this deal. And we'll just slide that in there. And I've got the Allen wrench, and I'm just going to start cranking on this. Tape is there so I don't make any impressions on the finish. And we're just turning it. And as I turn this, it's pulling that bridge piece out of the wood. Now it's out. There it is. And we'll just unscrew it. So now I won't get those all full of paint or clear or whatever when I'm working on it. And I'll just have to press it back in there when it comes time to reassemble the guitar. So that was it. This is pretty smooth. I've mostly been using 60 grit to get rid of the Bondo. Then I started using 100, and it's much smoother. I'll move up to, I think I've got some 250 and then some 4, I think. Probably have to do the whole top with 400. Anyways, that's where it's at now. This is pretty smooth. It doesn't look like it'd be smooth, but that's the Bondo. What Bondo did is it filled in a bunch of those areas where it was lower. So that's it.